JJ, what's going on this morning? How are you, man?
Doing well here in this rainy Napa Valley right now.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you got like the biggest vat of bubbly water or something inside there. Blip, 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 blip.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
boiling water.
yeah.
I'm boiling water, just getting ready for
Awesome.
something.
Awesome. Guys, hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. Gold ball hunting, a new episode. And what we are doing here is we're helping three types of players. We're helping tournament players, whether you're playing the national scene or maybe a local tournament, trying to help you guys get unstuck and get to the next round or two that you'd want to get to. We're helping league players either just win more matches at your current rating label, or if you're really ambitious, if you want to move up to the next rating label, we are here to help you do that as well. And then the Wednesday night guys and gals who are playing doubles and playing a little stinko and playing three sets.
Right.
Everyone plays with a different partner, and the winner does not have to buy the brewskis that night.
Right.
So
I thought of another group. I thought of another group as we, the other day. I thought of
Yes.
another group,
Yeah.
and that's the challenge court people.
The
You know,
challenge court
challenge
people.
court, Saturday morning challenge court,
Okay.
and you want to be on as long as possible, you know.
Right.
So it's
Where
another
they-
group here.
where
That could be your gold ball.
Where they kick you off the A, man, you can only win 3 matches in a row, and then you got to
Right,
get out of there.
right.
So you win your third match, and you're just kind of strutting, going, "That's right, that's right,
right.
that's right." So the way we are helping now those 4 kinds of players is a couple different ways. Is we're offering a free 10-minute coaching call, which you can get signed up for over at goldballhunting.com. It's free. It's just the 3 of us together, but you got to bring that one thing to the call that you're really struggling with, still trying to figure out. The other thing is Jeff and I recorded a little while ago a video on how to help you reduce your skill level range. That skill level range is where, and you know how this goes, is one day you go out and you play great. You go home, honey, I've got this game of tennis figured out. And the next day you show up and you just lay a big old fat egg. So we want to help you reduce that skill level range. One day good, the next day not so great. Help bring up the bottom so that when you go out to play every day, you're really confident that you know that you can depend on how you're going to play. Might not be your A-plus game every day, but pretty darn close. The way you get to that video, that private video, it is free. On building confidence, same thing, go to goldballhunting.com and you can get signed up there. So, Jeff, today is my day to put you on the hot seat.
Ouch.
Unscripted, you don't know what's coming, and have you kind of have you butcher away at it. Just see what you can do.
There
with
you
my
go.
question.
I throw myself upon the mercy of the court. Go ahead.
Babe. All right, so here we are in 2019. Last spring in 2018, I worked with a guy here named Glenn Erickson. He was over at the Palm Springs Tennis Club, and Glenn was a spectacular sort of young adult, kind of an older junior, young adult player. And one of these guys who just, you watch the guy play and you go, oh, come on. I mean, it's like you have to make it look that easy. And
Smooth as butter.
Yes. So anyway, I spent maybe half a dozen sessions with him, and he really helped me out in a couple areas. And one of the specific areas that he really emphasizes is your ability to read the ball off of your opponent's racket. I'm not saying anticipation. Anticipation might be a little part of it, but it's really that visual lock that you get and the information that you get right as the ball comes off your opponent's racket, so that the quicker you can do that, you can get into the hitting position sooner. And in theory, the more time you have to get ready to be able to prepare for that incoming ball, in theory, unless you've got the whole menu of shot choices, where you can really commit, and set up and hit a clean shot. So, how do you, when you're playing, what is there like some word you say to yourself, or is there a phrase, is there some habit you've got that when you're playing that you get an early read, so you get an early jump on the ball? Oh, he's looking. He's looking up. He's going, help me.
Yeah.
Help me. Help me find the answer.
That's right. Help me.
Help me.
Okay,
Help
Brent,
you.
I don't like the question. Can you ask me something else? No.
Okay, I've got another question. No.
It's,
I've got a better question for you.
uh-oh.
How come this is stumping you?
Well, I'm going to say I don't have like you mentioned, a word, a phrase, or this or that. Probably what I have is a habit of taking a little bit of focus as the ball leaves my racket and I'm reading what my ball has done, right? I'm actually checking, I'm monitoring the ball and seeing the reality of what I've produced. I then, kind of probably loosen up the focus on the ball and give a little more attention to my opponent to be able to see where's my ball going to hit them in the strike zone based on their movement, what's going on, and where they're going to have to take the ball in their strike zone.
Right.
If it's somebody I've played a few times, then I already kind of know what their favorite thing to do is out of that part of their strike zone, and the way they're setting up is kind of, that looks like a drive, or wow, I can see I got him in trouble, whatever. So that's a big part of it, is noticing where my ball is, where they're taking my ball in the strike zone, and noticing their setup. It's the most obvious one is when someone's going to slice off their backhand side, right? So I know when I've driven a ball deep, hard, buried into the ad side corner on a right-hander, and they're going out there wide on that, and all of a sudden I can see the stride and the length of step has extended, and the arm is up and starting to extend away from their body, that they got to make a reach here, and they're going chip or slice.
So you're actually starting to anticipate, hey, from what this guy's about to do, there's only one or two things he can possibly do. So
right.
That's giving you a little jump on the read for the ball coming off the racket.
Right. So so anticipation isn't I'm not going to say it's sometimes it is a pure lucky guess, because maybe you chunked up a ball and you're just standing there and you got no play and you just decide to move left or right. Or, the guy's habit. He tends to always go cross court here. So you just hang out, you kind of play possum for a second, and then you slide over and, you get a lucky break and he hits it right to your racket and it goes over and it's done. But other than that, when you're playing, the ability to read the physicality of your opponent is very helpful, because that's exactly where that magic happens. Being able to anticipate is really about reading the reality of what's going on. And that reality is, what effect is your ball actually having on your opponent? And then what's the likelihood, based on that reality, what's the likelihood of X, Y, or Z coming back?
So what you're saying is, if you get a ball that's up on the guy, the chances are he's not going to go over there and do like a big topper if the ball was in the way. I mean, right there. It's more like it's going to be
right.
It's going to be a lob or it's going to be a slice. But the guy is, if he's having actually made contact up high, this is not going to be a topper drive.
Right, especially if he's a one-hander. If he's a two-hander and he's got good, left arm dominant kind of, two-handed backhand, then yeah, he might be aggressive and go after a high, heavy topspin roller.
Right.
So each player, their stroke qualities kind of offer up the menu that day for what you have to look for, and that's where assessing your opponent in the warm-up becomes critical if you've never played the guy before. Getting some intel from some other players about, hey, I saw you played this guy last year in the quarters at XYZ and you beat him. What's his MO? How'd you do it? What's going on there, to get as much information as you can about, his tendencies. So, so it's really, it's not guesswork. It's really focused attention to detail.
Last night I watched the New York Open, and when we publish this episode, it'll be, I don't know, 5 or 6 days past. And I watched this kid, Jason Jung, and he played Francis Tiafoe, and he beat Tiafoe in straight sets,
Wow.
and yeah, it was an amazing. I mean, I was shocked because this guy, like this guy Jason Jung. I mean, he's been a satellite player forever. He's 29 years old, and here's a guy who is in. And I'm trying to get to the point of reading the ball because
Yeah.
it looked like, and look, this guy's quick, right? He's fast anyway, but it just looked like he was off the mark so quickly. The moment the ball came off of Tiafoe's racket, he was over there waiting, and I'm just going. These guys are going from side to side, and look, I mean, we all know these guys are just, otherworldly
Yeah.
fast, but still, it's relative to the otherworldly ball speed these guys are hitting,
Right.
and we see it all. I mean, I see it all the time here at Indian Wells, right? I love the first week of Indian Wells because you get to go in there and stand on the fence and watch these guys practice, and they're going side to side. And, a guy will hit a ball, and the next thing you know, he's way out of the court. And the guy over there rips it to the other side. And before you know it, this guy is over there going,
Yeah.
"Hi," and you're
Yeah.
just kind
Ho,
of
ho
going,
hum.
"Ho
Ho
hum."
hum.
I mean, so to me,
Right.
it's like for the rest of us, I just think it's really important that you spend some time on the practice court seeing how quickly you can react
Right.
to read the ball coming off your opponent's racket so that you can get into your next hitting position, your next hitting setup as soon as possible to buy more time. And
Right.
and the more time that you buy, in theory, what happens is you can adjust your spacing if you need to at the very last second, and the timing has a shot to be better. I'm not talking about. I mean, anticipation, like you were just describing, can be part of it, but I'd love to see. I mean, it's if you go out there and in the warm up, even if this is not a drill session, even if it's just a practice match. Why not spend the first set being conscious of how fast can I react to that guy's shot? And I think what we'll all discover is that we could react faster than what we do right now.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, for sure. I mean, again, that's another skill set. Tennis is just layer upon layer upon layer upon skill sets, and it's not all stroking the ball. It's building that foundation that allows you to actually use the stroke you have at a higher level, and foundationally, making that early prep, that early turn to prep your stroke.
Hold on for 1 second. You just said something that I've got to write down.
Uh-oh. I'm afraid to ask.
Well, you just said, and this is for another podcast, for another episode. You just said using your current stroke at a higher level.
Yeah.
So I think and I'm going to get a little off topic here, but I don't want to dig into it because I really want to save this for its own episode. But what that means is, number one, it means using your current stroke, your current technique at a higher level. Well, that higher level means that you're getting it in play a heck of a lot more often, and you're getting it in play a heck of a lot more often at the end of the sets and the end of matches.
Right.
So there's a couple ways to do that without and we'll talk about this in an upcoming episode. How do you take your current stuff and still play at a higher level? How do you actually do that without going and changing? Well, I got to do a little different grip, and I got a little shape here on the windshield wiper. No.
Yeah, not so.
No.
Yeah. So that's we'll dive into that for sure.
Good.
So anyway, that's kind of it, and so it's always curious to me. I'm out there teaching and listening. Because you hear it, when you were teaching full time, Brent, you hear all the conversations going on while you're teaching, and you're kind of filtering this stuff, and because you're making mental notes, like, oh, that's a good thing to talk about at the next clinic, or this is something good to, blah blah blah. And the other thing I like to bring up is tennis isn't just visual. Hearing the sound of the ball being struck gives you just a boatload of information about what that ball is doing and what it might do off the bounce. And it is always curious to me watching, club players that seem oblivious to the sound of the ball being struck and not knowing, gosh, I didn't realize you put so much topspin on that, Bob. It's like, how is that possible? Didn't you hear it? or did you not notice the stroke that the guy took? I think there's, people get so involved in playing and all the stuff that's happening as a blur across the net, that the ball and the players and all of that, and the ball is lost in this white noise of distraction, that there is no filtering down to the information that could actually help them work this out, because the information is just sitting there for everybody. It's not different for me than it is for you, than it is for a 3-0 player, than it is for Roger Federer. The information is there.
Yeah.
And can we develop the skill sets to extract the information that what's the most important thing now? So anyway, that's another discussion probably.
Okay, well, I thought I had you stumped at the beginning, but that's a pretty good save there, Jeff.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, well done, well done. Guys, we're going to wrap this up today. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. Jeff, before I ask you which I do every time, about what should the fine folks do right now. Guys, that free 10-minute coaching call, go to goalballhunting.com and you can choose a day and time that works for you. And we've also got a free video on how to reduce your skill level range that I think will help you. At this point now, Jeffrey, what would we like the folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, subscribe to us, and please leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Love to hear from you.
Outstanding. Guys, thanks again for hanging out. Time to get out there and help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeffrey, we're going to do this again tomorrow.
Can't wait.